Hare Krishna, everybody. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, sixth verse. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yatho bhaktiradokshje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Sa, that, why, certainly, pumsam, for mankind, para, sublime, dharma, occupation, yatha, by which, bhakti, devotional service, adhokshaje, unto the transcendence, ahaituki, causeless, apratihata, unbroken, yaya, by which, atma, the self, suprasidati, completely satisfied. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this statement, Sri Sutta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scripture and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two types of occupation for the human being. One is called the Pravritti Marga, or the path of self-enjoyment. Other is called the Nivritti Marga, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence, or Brahma Bhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just the futile attempt to get rid of the miseries. And temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good, it's certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increase its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service to the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposefully denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activity with his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurulmenitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadhadi Swapatandikam Vandeham Shri Gurom Padakamalam Shri Gurom Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Slides up. Okay. Can you go back to the previous slide, Prabhu? Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining, and I seek your blessings to get the session started. So today's verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, 6th verse. So we will discuss a few ideas in this verse. The first one is the idea of dharma and parodharma. Then we'll talk about the qualities of that parodharma, which is a haitukyena pratihata. And we will talk about how that leads to complete satisfaction of the heart. But before we get there, some context. Srimad Bhagavatam starts with the sages having a summit in Naimisharanya at the beginning of Kali Yuga. So what is their concern? Their concern is Prayena Alpayusha Sabhya Kala Vasmin Yuge Jana Mandaha Sumanda Madayo Manda Bhagyo Patridaha, which means that in the age of Kali Yuga, people are lazy to understand spiritual aspects. Okay, even if they're not lazy, they don't have the intelligence to realize spiritual aspects. And even if these two things are true, they don't have a mentor to come in or a guru to come and help them. And even if all these three things are true, they're always disturbed. And finally, the living age is also very small. So they are concerned, and they are concerned for humanity in general. So they come together, and they're discussing who is the best speaker who can give us some solutions to this problem. So they look amongst themselves. They're trying to find somebody who has a broad knowledge of all Vedic literature. A little knowledge is sometimes dangerous. So you want to have somebody who has complete knowledge of all Vedic literature, number one. Number two, they might have good knowledge, but they have to be a good orator, So that's the second quality. Third quality is that they might have all these two things, but they should not have some personal agenda. So they have to have a pure consciousness. That is the third agenda, third quality. Fourth one is they might have all three, but they may not have understood the literatures the way Vyasadeva wanted to understand. So that is the fourth quality. Fifth one is they have to be loyal to the lineage, right? And these are the qualities that they are looking for. So they found somebody like that in the group, and that is Suta Goswami. And then they pose some questions to Suta Goswami. If you go to the next slide. Okay, they pose some questions to Suta Goswami. What are the questions they asked? First one is, tell me what is the most beneficial activity for all human beings? It's a very interesting question, no? All of us want to know that, right? Second question is, many scriptural literatures are there. They all talk about different karma, bhuri bhuri karmani, right? Of that, tell me the essence of those literatures. Because in Kali Yuga, people will not have the time to go and read all the literatures. So tell me the essence. And there is a catch. They say, Yen Atma Suprasidati. By that essence, we can be fully satisfied. And then they ask, why did Krishna take birth in the womb of Mother Devaki? And then they ask, tell me about the Purushavataras, tell me about the Leela Avataras, and finally, where did Dharma take shelter? So those are the questions. Now, Suta Goswami is about to speak. That is the second chapter. But before he speaks, he remembers, he has to think about an esteemed group of people are sitting here. What answer will satisfy them? And he remembers, many years ago, I sat in a similar audience. At that time, who was a speaker? Shukadeva Goswami was a speaker. And Shukadeva Goswami's answers satisfied everybody in that audience, including Vyasadeva. So he said, then this is the appropriate topic for me to discuss. And before he starts the discussion, he remembers Shukadeva Goswami. Yasyanubhava makhila shrutisara medam adhyatma deepam aditirshantamo andam samsarinam karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasasonam upayami guru munina. So he remembers the mercy, the quality of mercy in Shukadeva Goswami. Samsarinam karunayam purana guhyam. Right? That is the quality that stood out the most to him. Right? Because of his mercy, he took the essence of all Vedic literatures and gave that to Parikshit Maharaj and everybody in the world. So he remembers Shukadeva Goswami. He invites Shukadeva Goswami to reside in his heart, so that just like Shukadeva Goswami transformed the heart of all the listeners of Bhagavatam, he also is able to do this. And then he answers the first two questions. The answer to the first two questions, what is the most beneficial activity for all living entities? Right? Pumsam ekantata shreyas and atha sadho atrayat saram. Right? Those are the two first two questions. And for that, he says the answer is bhakti. So this verse is the response to those two questions. Now let's go to the next slide. So let's first spend some time on the word dharma. Dharma is a very overloaded word. If you look at, just go search online, you'll find many, many definitions of dharma. Okay? But the root of dharma, in Sanskrit, every word has a root word. The root word, which is a verbal root, it is called dhra. And dhra means to hold, to sustain, to uphold, right? So what that means is that dharma is the essential or intrinsic quality of a thing, right? Which makes that thing itself. If you remove that quality, then that thing ceases to exist. So it is so integral that it sustains the existence of something. That's what Prabhupada says in the purport. It sustains the existence of a thing. Is that making sense? That is the root word dharma, the dhar. Okay? As an example, what is the thing that sustains sugar? Sweetness. Okay? Sugar and sweetness, you can't take away sweetness from sugar. If you take sweetness from the sugar, it doesn't become sugar. Like, just like that, fire. Right? What is the thing that sustains fire? Heat and light. So, dhra means that which sustains the existence of something. Okay? It is so essential, again I'm repeating, it's so essential that if you take that thing away, then that object ceases to exist. That is the root word of dharma. Now, can we go to the next slide? You can apply this. So, dharma is actually a noun in Sanskrit. A noun can be applied to different contexts. Right? For example, technology is a word that is a noun. You cannot apply technology to fintech, financial technology. You can apply to cloud tech. You can apply the word technology into health tech. Right? And depending on the context, this word has a slightly different meaning. So just like that, dharma is a noun. And it can be applied at different realms of life or different spheres of reality. At the lowest sphere of reality is this term, the intrinsic quality or a thing that sustains an object. But if you uplevel it to the society, then dharma becomes that which sustains the society, which is what? Our roles and responsibility in society, varnas and ashramas. Right? We are a father, a mother, a son, we are this employee, this title, right? And all of that has a particular duty you follow, occupational duty you follow. So that's a society level. If you further up-level it to the global level, what sustains the entire world is values, ethics, morals, right? That's why dharma has different connotations and meanings depending on the context in which it is spoken about, okay? So, let's go to the next slide, Prabhu. So what we are figuring, trying to find out, paro dharma, right? As you can see, dharma tracks identity, right? If your identity is that of a father, then your dharma is following the principles of a father, right? The duties as a father. If it is a mother, then it is a duty as a mother, right? If it's a citizen, then it is a law-abiding citizen. And by the way, there are Sanskrit words for this: pitru dharma, matru dharma, desha dharma, like that. Swadharma, varnashrama dharma, right? Just like I said, technology, same thing. So it follows identity. Now the question is, what is the real identity? Right? We are looking at something that is eternal, something that is unchangeable, something that is intrinsic to us. Right? So is our real identity to be an American or a Canadian or an Indian? That is not real identity, because that can change. You can go and change your passport. Right? You may be a father today, you may be a son today. Many years down the line, your parents pass away. You may not be a son at that point of time. Right? You may be a technology employee today or a teacher today, but you may quit the job. So these are not real dharma. These are not like permanent dharma. Right? These are temporary dharma. So what we are trying to find out is, what is the real identity? Okay? So even in Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, Arjuna had a clash of dharma. Right? He identified himself as two things. What is that? First one is a Kula dharma. Second one is the Kshatriya dharma. And he's having a conflict. Should I kill my family members, or should I fight? So there is a conflict between two kinds of dharma. And what does Krishna do? He resets. And Krishna uses this verse, Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehandara prapti dhira tatra muhyate. So he says, Arjuna, all your ideas and debates about dharma is in the context of body. Because you are identifying yourself as a body, you are thinking of you are as a member of the Kula, you have to protect the Kula, you are a member of a Kshatriyas, you have to fight. But let me reset the context for you first. You are actually a spirit soul. Your body changes, your relationship changes, but as a spirit soul, you never change. Does anybody feel that you have changed? Of course, your body has changed. If you go look at the mirror, you're all changed. But internally, intrinsically, do you feel like you are a different person or a different individual deep down 10 years ago versus now versus 20 years ago? Like, I feel I'm still the same person. I identify myself as the same person. Of course, my body has changed. So that's what this verse means. So our real identity is that of a spirit soul. Right? So with that context, can we go to the next verse? Yeah. Yeah, so with that verse, the question is, how do we identify ourselves? So, in Jaiva Dharma, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that the spirit soul is Satchit and Ananda. We are fully eternal, fully cognizant, and fully satisfied. Ananda means pleasure, right? But somehow this spirit soul has got nothing to do with matter. Like, as an example, this is matter, completely matter. There is no consciousness. This is matter. Can we really identify with us, have a relationship with this matter? With the mic, with the table? Like genuine relationship? It's not possible. It's two incompatible things. But somehow the spirit soul thinks that it is compatible with matter. Because his body is actually matter, right? It's made up of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, ether, space. So somehow we think we are compatible with the body. And not just that. After some time, we start identifying with the body. Right? This is the irony. And this happens because of Krishna's energy called Tatastha energy. Tatastha means marginal. Tata means a bank in the river. Right? Sometimes the bank can be in the water. Sometimes the bank can be out of the water. Just like that. Spirit soul, because of this energy, can make this think that they're compatible with matter. Right? And after you identify with the body, then all the dharma you do with that identification is called circumstantial dharma. It is called naimittika dharma. That is circumstantial. It's a circumstance. And that keeps changing. Every day, every year, every month, it keeps changing. But it is not the real Nitya Dharma. That's what we're trying to find out what that is. Right? So that of a spirit soul is to love Krishna. Our actual dharma is to love Krishna. And why it is like that? That cannot be answered. That is how we are created. Does that make sense? It's an ontological thing. It is how it is. Right? All of us, doesn't matter what kind of bodily form and shapes we take, our intrinsic nature is to love Krishna and serve Krishna. Right? Nityo Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Eko Bhavanamano Vidanatam. So there is one person who we all serve, that is Krishna. Right? That's our true nature. Now, if we identify ourselves body, then what happens? Then Krishna says in the next few verses in Bhagavad Gita, same chapter, he says, Matra sparshas tu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayano nityas tamtadikshit bharata. So what he says, now you identify yourself body. You have senses. How do you interact with the world? Through your senses. Eyes, ears, nose, sound. Those are the indriyas. When the senses touches or gets in contact with a sensory object, for example, when the eyes get in touch with a beautiful form, it creates a sensory perception. And we think, oh, that is pleasure. When the eye sees a very gruesome form, then it gives us pain. So this is what Krishna means, matra sparsha. Matra means tanmatra. That means the object of the senses, like form, sound, taste, like that. Okay? And sparsha means contact. Right? When these two things contact, there is a sense of pleasure and pain. And we think, because of our identification with the body and compatibility with the body, we think, oh, this is pleasure and this is pain. Right? So that is the thing that Krishna is saying. But the irony is a sense object matter or spirit? What is it? Is it matter or spirit? Matter. The object of the sense, the form, is that matter or spirit? But it is like form is coming from the earth element. Or fire element, sorry. So that's where form comes from. It is still matter, right? I'm looking at you, your body is made of matter. That is different. I'm saying in general, right? If you're looking at Krishna, then that is spiritual. Right? But in general, if you look at a gulab jamun, right? That is matter, agreed? The eye is also matter. So two matters getting in touch with each other. How is it that the spirit soul is finding pleasure? Nothing to do with matter. Do you understand the irony of life? Spirit soul has nothing to do with matter. It's not even compatible with matter. But when two matter things are in contact with each other, we feel pleasure and we feel pain because of our identification with the body. Right? Now the problem is this pleasure and pain, it is a very low temporary pleasure and pain. Why? Number one, the object of senses is also not permanent. Let's say that you love a BMW. You bought a BMW. Looking at the BMW, the object of eyes, you get pleasure. Hearing the roaring sound of the engine gives you pleasure to the ears. The beautiful touch of the seats give you pleasure. Right? And the smell of the perfume inside the car gives you pleasure. So now you're happy. Tomorrow you take the car out, somebody comes and hit the car, rear-end you. That becomes a source of frustration now. What can you do? Right? So the object of senses is also temporary. You cannot control it. And whenever you don't get it, that gives you pain. That is one angle. Second angle is even our body is temporary. 20 years ago, I could have eaten 10 gulab jamuns in one go. Today, I cannot eat more than one. Right? We are all growing. You all agree. I could run 20 years ago. Now, my knee starts paining, back starts paining. So even if you have the desire, the body as a vehicle is not suitable to enjoy infinitely. Right? That's the problem with the body itself. It's not a great vehicle to enjoy. So, and even if both these things are possible, the enjoyment, it's very superficial. Like I said, two matter is getting in contact with each other. Soul has nothing to do with it. So it is very superficial. It doesn't really touch our heart. Right? So that is the problem with the pain and pleasure that we experience with material objects. Okay? So who is an example of this? Let me give you an example of this in Bhagavatam. So this is from the 7th canto, 4th chapter, 19th verse. Sa ittam nirjita kakub ekarad vishayan priyan yetopajosam bunjano na tripyad ajitendriya. This is the of the Hiranyakashipu Prahlad episode. So Hiranyakashipu, he was Ekarad, means he was the emperor of the entire world. Not this world alone, the lower planetary system, upper planetary system, heavenly planetary system. He actually had the throne of the Indra. You know, when he wants some jewels, he'll just order the ocean and the ocean will produce the jewel. When he wants some fruit, he will just order the earth, and the earth without any seeds produce the fruit. Right? If he wants a weather change, today is too hot, he'll call a demigod, make it much better weather. So he had the entire world under his control. Not just that, he was so powerful that he could enjoy as much as he wants from physical perspective. It's not just like our body. Like he had a very powerful body. He could enjoy unlimited. Okay? But here Bhagavatam says, na tripyad ajitendriya. Na tripya. Tripti means satisfaction. Na tripyad means not satisfied. Ajitendriya means a slave of the senses. So even with a physical body capable of enjoying unlimitedly, even with all resources under his hands, right, he was still dissatisfied. Yeah? In modern times also, you see a lot of powerful people who have everything in their hand, dissatisfied, commit suicide, drug abuse, and things like that. So the point here is that the enjoyment from matter, right, is a temporary thing. It doesn't give the soul satisfaction. On the other hand, if you go to the next slide, you take example of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj is also a great emperor, right? The other side of the coin. But he used all his senses, right? He used his eyes to see the beautiful form of Krishna. He used his ears to listen about Krishna. His hands to, clean the temple. His legs to walk to the temple. So here is somebody who's also a powerful person, but uses all his senses to in devotional service. And he was completely satisfied. Right? So this is the difference in two personalities, and we can choose which way we want to go. It's a choice. We all have our unique choices. So we can choose which way we want to go. But know that, like Prabhupada is writing in the purport, the first path is futile. You cannot climb a pine tree and expect to get mangoes. So what we think, we'll climb a little bit more higher, then we can get a mango. Mango's not there. You climb a little bit more higher, no mango. So it's futile. It just doesn't work, right? So the choice is ours. Which way do we want to go, right? So the real dharma is to actually serve Krishna. That is what is called paro dharma, right? Paro dharma here means yato bhaktir adokshaje. Means bhakti is paro dharma. So everybody clear on dharma, the idea of dharma, basic idea of dharma? Now we'll get to the next section, which is, now that we established bhakti is the paro dharma, the question is all bhakti paro dharma? Right? Then why are we not feeling full satisfaction? Anybody who's fully satisfied with, we are all coming temple, we chant, we do japa, we attend programs. Is your heart fully satisfied? Mine is not, by the way. So maybe some of you are, but mine is not. So which kind of bhakti gives that full satisfaction? So Sutta Goswami qualifies that. He says the kind of bhakti that is ahaituki and apratihata. Those are the two qualities of the kind of bhakti that is highest of nature. So these two words are important. You can look at it from two perspectives. One perspective is from the practitioner, which is our perspective. The other perspective is from the bhakti itself. So let's look at these two words. The first word is, so this is an example of when we start our devotional life, most of us come with some kind of a motivation. Right? Chaturvida bhajantema jana sukritina arjuna artho jnyasurartharthi gyanicha pradarshava. It's not a bad thing. We are at least turning towards Krishna. Right? If you really search in our heart, we all have some kind of motivation. Right? Sometimes it is like, we are going through a health challenge, so we take shelter of Krishna. Sometimes you're worried about financial things, we worried about Krishna. Right? Those are at a gross level. At a subtle level, we want prestige. We want to be the best preacher. We want to be the best bhakta. Right? So those are the subtle level. But these are all motivated bhakti. Right? So here Sutta Goswami is saying, ahaituki, from a practitioner's perspective, it means that hetu. The word hetu means motive. One meaning is motive. So ahaituki means no motive. So we don't have any agenda. Right? So there is no motivation. Why do we love Krishna? We love Krishna. There is no motivation. Right? Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Shikshashtakam, Krishna, it doesn't matter whether you embrace me or you ignore me, right? I will still remain your servant life after life. Right? So that is no motive. Okay? So that is one version of ahaituki. Ahaituki means no motive from a practitioner's perspective. From the bhakti's perspective, what does that mean? It means hetu can also means cause. So ahaituki can also means causeless. So bhakti doesn't have any cause. So what does that mean? So if we come and put money into the hundi, will we get bhakti? Or acharyas argue no. If we do a lot of austerities, will we get bhakti? Or acharyas argue no. Is Krishna responsible for giving us bhakti? In a tattva way, it is correct, but acharyas argue no. Because if Krishna is the one who is responsible for giving us bhakti, then everybody should get bhakti. Otherwise, Krishna is partial. Then where does bhakti come from? It comes from other devotees, people who are already bhaktas. Specifically because of their mercy. And the reason for the existence of that mercy is bhakti in their heart. So, bhakti itself is the cause of bhakti. There is no other cause. Right? So, it comes from other devotees, the heart of other devotees, who are carrying bhakti in their heart. So, because bhakti itself is the cause of bhakti, it is causeless. And also because associating with other devotees is one of the angas of bhakti in Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Right? It is again, bhakti itself is a cause of bhakti. Let's go to the next verse. So that is the word ahaituki. Okay. Now, apratihata has also have two meanings. One from practitioner's perspective, one from the process of bhakti. From practitioner's perspective, it means uninterrupted. That means that it is not like every Monday I'll pray Krishna, but all other days is for myself. Right? Or 5 days I've prayed, now I need a rest for another 10 days. Right? It is uninterrupted. Right? We are consistent in our practice of bhakti. Right? Every day we chant our rounds. So that is one meaning of apratihata. The other meaning is it cannot be checked by anything. Right? Bhakti cannot be, it is not dependent on our material conditions. Take an example of Prahlad Maharaj. Right? His own father is trying to kill him every day. Every day wake up, he doesn't know who is going to kill him, which method is going to kill him. But his bhakti cannot be checked. In fact, bhakti actually burns the other obstacles. So it cannot be checked by anything material conditions. So that is the other meaning of apratihata. Can we go to the next few slides, Prabhu? Yeah. So this is an example of how bhakti arises from bhakti. I told that bhakti is a cause of bhakti. So this is from the 11th canto, 3rd chapter. This is a conversation between Maharaja Nimi and the Navayogendras. So here you see this verse, Bhaktya Sanjayate Bhaktya. Right? By practicing devotional, it's the cause for devotional service is practicing devotional service. So it is no other cause. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So you all understood the two meanings for each of this word, Apratihata and Haituki. Right? Now the question is, if all of this is true, why do we practice sadhana bhakti? Like today, we are practicing sadhana bhakti. We don't have pure bhakti. We have motives. So what is the point of doing all these things? Right? So there is an interesting episode from, there is a verse from Bhagavatam that says, Shrinvanti gayanti grananti apikshanam smaranti nandanti tavehitam jana ta eva pashyanti achirena thavakam bhavapravaho paramam padambujam. Shrinvanti means hearing. Gayanti means singing. Okay? Smaranti means remembering. By doing, hearing, remembering, chanting, discussing about Krishna, Tavehitam jana, ta eva pashyanti. Pashyanti means you can see Krishna. Achirena tavakam, very soon. You can see Krishna very soon. Right? So, our Acharya has given an example. Sadhana bhakti is like an unripe mango. Right? Unripe mango is the cause of a fully ripe mango. Agreed? So like that, what we are practicing as sadhana bhakti is also parodharma. Right? The question I was trying to raise here is, if parodharma is pure bhakti, then what is sadhana bhakti? Sadhana bhakti means practicing the rules and bhakti during the rules and regulation. For example, if you want to be the best athlete in the world, you have to follow certain rules and regulations. You may not be able to run 100 meters in under 10 seconds today. But if you follow the rules and regulations, eventually you'll be able to run it. So doing the bhakti to the boundaries of the rules and regulation, under the guidance of a spiritual master, that is sadhana bhakti. So here our Acharya says, sadhana bhakti is the same as prema bhakti, in the sense that one leads to the other. So in that sense, if you are practicing sadhana bhakti, you're already doing parodharma. Even if it is not fully there yet, it is still parodharma. Right? I want to, I know we are running out of time, but I want to conclude by some example. So Narad Muni is an example of somebody who achieved pure bhakti from the sages who came and visited his hermitage. Right? So the process of bhakti for him started from the mercy from these devotees. So that is where bhakti starts. The second chapter of Bhagavatam also talks about the 14 stages of bhakti. Shushrusho Shraddhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nisevanam. So this first process is Syan Mahat Sevaya, which means serving a devotee. So when you serve a devotee, somehow or other, you get the seed of bhakti in your heart. From there, you start practicing bhakti. And you start getting some shraddha, some faith. Then you do, diksha or spiritual master, approach a spiritual master. From there, you actually start bhajana kriya. And slowly, slowly, your anarthas get removed, distractions get removed. You start having focus. Right? Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Right? Same chapter, it talks about the process of bhakti. So the abhadras in your heart gets removed. Then you are able to focus more. You have focus on Krishna. Right? You feel different about Krishna. Then Nishta comes, Ruchi comes, Prema comes. So in the case of Narad Muni, he says, Prema atibhara nirbhinnam pulakanko ati nivritaha ananda samplave lino napasyam ubayam muni. Prema ati bhara. Bhara means weight. He's seeing Krishna after meditating, after his mother has died. He walks to the north, to the forest, and finally he's seeing Krishna in his heart. He's saying, Prema ati bhara nirbhinna. I am the weight, burden of prema. I'm not able to hold it together. We don't have any prema. Here Narad Muni is saying, Prema ati bhara nirbhinna. Pulakanko ati nivritaha. My senses are enlivened. Ananda samplave lino, which means the waves of happiness are hitting me when I'm seeing Krishna. And then he suddenly Krishna disappears from his vision. Napasyam Ubhayam Muni. So again, if he had a motivated bhakti, he would have questioned, Krishna, why did you take the vision from me? Why me? Why me? Why not others? Why me? But then, what did he did? He accepted that as a mercy of Krishna, And what did he do the rest of his life? He spent the rest of the life by Namani Anantasya Hatatripapadhan Guhyani Badrani Kritani Chasmaran Gam Paryatam Tushta Manakataspruha Kalam Pratiksha Vimado Vimatsara. He chanted Krishna's name, remembered Krishna's name. Tushta Manakataspruha means like fully satisfied heart. Kalam Pratiksha Vimado Vimatsara. Kalam means time. Pratiksha means patience. He waited patiently because he had full faith in Krishna. Vimado, without any envy. Vimatsara, without any competition with others. So he had full faith in Krishna. That is the kind of bhakti that leads to full satisfaction of the heart. So the request is, if anything you can take away, it is not to stop any activity you are doing. Right? The beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna didn't want to fight. End of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is fighting very ferociously. But the difference is the consciousness. So the ask is not to stop anything. Do everything you do very nicely. But keep Krishna in the center. Right? Ataha pumbir tijasveshta varnashrama vivagashaha samsiddhir haritoshanam, that verse says. Which means that the whole point of varnashrama dharma is to please Krishna, satisfy Krishna. So if you keep Krishna in the center, whatever you do it very nicely. It becomes a devotional activity. Right? We keep Krishna in the center, we perform sadhana bhakti. Eventually, we will get to a stage where our heart is fully satisfied. Right? So with that, I'd like to conclude. And if there is any discussions, comments, happy to discuss. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions, any comments, feedback?
Causeless and unmotivated. Would you mind explaining the apratihata quickly?
Yeah, the first meaning from a practitioner's perspective is it is consistent, right? Apratihata means like without any interruption, right? We do it consistently. From Bhakti's perspective, it means Bhakti cannot be checked by anything material.
That point I don't check from...
Because it doesn't matter, for example, it's not like, I'll give a crude example. It is not like if you're a Brahmin, you will get more bhakti, right? If it's not like if you're rich, you will get more bhakti. It's not like if you have a certain memory, you'll get more bhakti. It is completely independent of material conditions, right? So bhakti cannot be checked by your material condition. As an example, in the case of Prahlad Maharaj, right? He was under a lot of material stress. Every day he had a stress, but his bhakti could not be checked by that. So our material condition do not determine bhakti. Does that make sense?
It does. I just have a little question. I'm sorry about my forwardness. It seems that many times we feel that some people who have achieved a little more in terms of material engagements here in the material world here, we see that many times they get a lot more favors from spiritual practitioners or any other practitioners, because the world of Instagram, social media is such that we see that those people with a lot of material prowess, they get a lot of mercy from... I'm sorry. How do we comprehend that?
So whether you're rich or not rich is not the criterion for bhakti. Sometimes it is superficial, right? Like I said, it may not satisfy the heart. So we'll talk more. Okay? Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaro Nagara. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaro Nagara. Yashomati Nandana Brajabaro Nagara. Yashomati Nandana Gokula Ranjana Kanha. Gopi Paranadhana Madana Manohara. Gopi Paranadhana Madana Manohara. Kaliya Dhammana Vidhana. Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa. Vipina Purandara Navina Nagara Baro. Bansi Badana Suvasa. Braja Janopalana Surakula Nashana. Nanda Godana Rakhavala. Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara. Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara. Sundarananda Gopala. Sundarananda Gopala. Yamuna Tattacharan Gopi Basanahara. Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya. Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabhara. Shri Radha Vallabha Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabhara. Bhakti Vinodashraya. Yashomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara. Yashomati Nandana Brajabara. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara. Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara. Sundarananda Gopala. Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara. Oh, Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara. Bhakti Vinodashraya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Shri Radhe. Jayo Radha, Nila Madhav Radha, Nila Madhav Shri Radhe. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Shubhadran. Jayo Narsingadev, Jayo Narsingadev, Narsingadev, Jayo Narsingadev. Jayo Sitaram, Jayo Lakshman Hanuman, Sitaram, Jayo Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivachakarya Charya Shushar Srimad Abhecharnarvinda Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivachakarya Ashur Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavanda ki. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vranda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Ganga Maya Yamuna Mai ki jai. Bhakti Dev Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, please stay for 1 minute. Today is the very happy wedding anniversary of His Grace Gaurang Chand Prabhu and Her Grace Anuradha Sakhi Mataji. Hari Bol. So let us offer our prayers to Shri Radha Nil Madhav, Shri Jagannath Baldev Shubhadra Gaur Netai, Sitaram Lakshman Narsingh Dev, Srila Prabhupada. So let us chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you.
Prabhuji, you are very fortunate that you have a friend like me. A neighbor like me. Who cares for you, who loves you?
Prabhu, it's reciprocal. He's giving me so much love, I'm giving him just
Who elevates to Goloka?
He's our only hope and chance. He's our only hope and chance.
Prabhu, come on. Pulling my leg.
You agree?
I 100%.
That is same for all of us. That is same for him, for you and you.
Team Sakshi Gopali Dari.
For you also it is true. For you.
3 juries.
So it's the opposite. I am fortunate to be in Seattle, but Seattle is fortunate to have me. The difference is this.
Such a nice he sang, no? Doyal Nimai Prabhu.
बहुत simple terms में.
Nice tune. I never heard this tune.
So I'll tell you something about him. Something about him. If he has 40 minutes free in his day calendar, he'll immediately come out to is here, if it is even possible for half an hour, he's here. And he doesn't care, Ajubaju. He's singing to deity, chanting to